Hello and welcome to another episode of Spotlight Sessions. My name is Elon Fisher. I'm the host, and I'm really excited today to be having a chat with Kenza Cohen. Kenza's based in the UK, which is always nice to speak to, somebody with a familiar accent. How's it going, Kenza?
I'm very well, thank you.
So, Kenza, before I understand a little bit more about your work and your role, um, just first of all, like the work that NeurodiverCity are doing is really, really important, and just want to thank you for being on the show. But I'd love to hear about a little bit about yourself, about your kind of life story, your career story, and then we'll kind of jump into the work that neurodiversity is up to.
Okay, so my name's Kenza Cohen. I am the CEO of NeurodiverCity, which is both a UK and a US company now. And we're basically a not-for-profit, which overall our aim is to actually increase awareness of neurodiversity while promoting the social acceptance and inclusion of neurodivergence into mainstream society. So now I'm 32 years old. I've always been different. I've known I've been different. And I've always had people telling me what I'm capable of, what I can achieve, how I don't fit in, how I'm different, and that obviously led to my struggles with mainstream employment, my struggles in education, and yeah, as of last year, in a moment where I was totally angry at the world, I decided there's no point me looking for a world I can fit in to. I have to be part of that change, and I also have to encourage everybody else to join me to force that change in society too.
Wow. And Kenza, with the work with neurodiversity, first of all, it's amazing that you've taken the mission, but also for me, really challenging that you found yourself in a world that you don't necessarily fit into or isn't built. So what are some of the changes that you're making with neurodiversity? What are some of the values that you're promoting?
So, what basically we're split into three different segments. So we have the growth segment, which is all about encouraging neurodivergents to be their true, authentic selves, to communicate in the ways they prefer to communicate, whether it be the neurotypical society norms or their preferred way of communicating. And encourage them to just be themselves, to be the best persons they can be, so that they can grow and thrive. We have the education part, which is all about educating not only neurodivergence but the whole world from a neurodivergent point of view. So actually having more neurodivergent training opportunities up there. So if you have a special interest, you can do bespoke training to get your qualifications, while at the same time also promoting the awareness and allowing people to understand what being autistic's like, what being ADHD's like, what being epileptic's like, all through lived experience rather than the traditional medical model. Because the
Hmm.
medical model isn't perfect, and as the saying goes, if you know one autistic, you know one autistic. We are all different. So we do want to kind of stamp out some of the generalisations. And then, last but not least, which is where obviously you guys come in, we also have the empowerment segment, which is all about promoting neurodivergent led businesses. As neurodivergents, we get turned down for so much mainstream employment because people don't actually see our hidden potential. They don't see how if we're autistic, some of us are really critical thinkers. If
Hmm.
we're ADHD, we have hyper focus, so we can persevere and pay more focus on one thing than some people may not be able to. So we're all about working with non-profits and neurodivergent organisations to find out where their strengths and weaknesses are, to empower them on their strengths, but also to actually take charge of some of the weaknesses for them so they can succeed. And as part of the empowerment as well, we work with quite a few corporate entities and mainstream employers to help their services and companies be more accessible, to allow them to have a wider reach, and to help them suddenly become part of the solution, not the problem and the cause. Because the only way society is going to change is if we all do this together.
That's so powerful, Kenza. Thank you. And you spoke a little bit about kind of the generalizations out there and how people can be more inclusive. What are some of the generalizations, and how can corporates be part of the solution as well in your view?
Okay, so generalizations, for example, everybody says we have communication differences. Now, I'm autistic, ADHD, dyslexic, epileptic, with a PDA profile. And I'm always told that, oh, you've got communication problems. It's not that I actually have communication problems. If you actually put me in a room with 50 other autistics or even neurodivergents, in principle, we'll actually be able to all talk, we'll all communicate effectively, we'll all understand each other. It's not a barrier, it's a difference. I communicate very bluntly, I will tell it as it is. I do have processing delay, so occasionally I may go mute for a little bit longer than normal while I actually understand the question. So it's actually just about having patience. If you see somebody struggling to understand, see if you can phrase it a different way. One thing I normally do is if I'm not entirely sure of something, I actually repeat it back so I understood it as this. Is this correct? It's not a difference. It's just that we think in different ways, and as such, we actually communicate in different ways. I'm so blunt most of the time. People tell me I'm rude. Actually, I'm not being rude. I'm communicating in the best way. How? For me, neurotypical society dictates you start with hello, how are you? How's the wife? How's the kids? For me, I don't actually see the logic in there. You are calling me for a reason. If you need something, tell me what you need. I will sort it. We don't need to do the dance just to get to it, kind of thing. At the same time, yes, I can walk around with my ear defenders on because things are too loud. People stop and stare at you. That's no good. Actually, what you should do is understand, okay, this person has a problem. If you're in a small room, for example, open the door so I can walk through it, so I can take myself away from the loudness. If you can see I'm struggling and I'm walking through a crowded place with ear defenders on, take 2 steps to the right so I don't feel crowded. I'm literally just finding somewhere where I can get myself back to normal. And there's loads of adults and children exactly the same.
Wow. That's really important, and something, I've been working, with people with disabilities and in, the accessibility ecosystem for close to 2 years now. And the main thing I've learned is like just be honest, ask the question if you're unsure
Yeah,
of how to approach somebody, or like, I think it was an example of something of like people want a handshake and not a pat on the back. And that's something, that takes
yeah,
time to relearn or unlearn. So I think just really that communication of being blunt and being straight is super important and shouldn't be something that is
yeah.
is frowned upon or looked upon differently. And Kenza, in terms of neurodiversity and your background, what does accessibility mean to you? What does access and inclusion mean to you? Because it's a very broad topic, but I'd be very interested to hear kind of how some of those perspectives of what you said or the potential solutions can be um, can be articulated.
Okay, so inclusion and acceptability and accessibility is actually nothing more than just being a good human. If you can say, one of the terms I personally absolutely hate is special needs, because actually we're not special needs. What we have is additional needs. The fact that we make up a minimum of 30% of the world's population actually shows they're not special needs, they're actually normal for us. It's just that we have varying needs all off a base foundation. And actually, if those needs are met, then we can surprise you. We can do things that you didn't realize was possible, but all we're actually waiting for is a chance to do those. Especially in my career, IT is one of my special interests. Previously in my career, I was able to solve a problem within a government health organisation that was ongoing for 8 months before it came to me. Within 72 hours, it was resolved, and that's because somebody gave me a chance. Somebody said, "You know what? I've realised you've actually probably got the chance of doing this, so do it." The main problem we have is with all of the generalisations and what people understand from the medical model, people talk at us rather than to us. Uh, you know, don't think for a second that you actually know what we can and can't do, because years of this oppression and having our voices removed has actually made us hyper self-aware. We know what we're capable of. We know what our strong points are, our weak points are. We will happily tell you so that you have no misconceptions. So, especially as an employer, even down to job descriptions, even with neurotypical people, job descriptions don't fit everyone, because even as a neurotypical, you have your strengths and weaknesses. And ultimately, what we're doing at neurodiversity is urging people to actually focus more on the strengths and take advantage of those strengths rather than the weaknesses.
Wow, that's really powerful, and also a really good way to kind of end the interview and the spotlight sessions. Kenza, I did want to thank you, but I also wanted kind of the listeners out there to know if they wanted to get involved in neurodiversity, learn more, learn how to be better allies, and to be part of the solution rather than the problem. How can they do so?
So we are on Facebook under Neurodiversity. We have our website at neurodiversity.org.uk. You can reach out to us in many forms: Facebook, LinkedIn, through our website. We have WhatsApp as well. So, if there is something you are struggling with, whether you're an individual or a company, reach out to us. Let us see how we can help you, because we do want to help as many people as possible.
Wow. Kenza, again, I wanted to thank you, and I look forward to our next collaboration. I know I took an absolute fortune from this, and just best of luck with kind of your goals in 2022, and look forward to chatting to you soon.
Thank you. Thank
Cheers.
you.